Hello?
Hello, everyone.
Hello? Hello, Roman?
Okay, just a second. I'm trying to set up my. Mhm. It was supposed to be working, but I'm trying to. Okay.
Morning.
Hello, everyone. It looks like my headphones are not working, so I will go without the headphones. So, good morning to and good afternoon to everyone here. I would like to initially, I would like to be in a more positive mood, but unfortunately, today we have the day of commemoration of those who died yesterday, and I will be more specific about the consequences of Russian attack that led to these losses. But thank you everyone who are watching us and who will be who are following the situation in Ukraine. Uh, and thank you for all the help. So right now I will start my presentation and I will go through the most important things that we have for today in terms of the war and agriculture following the situation in Ukraine. Uh, and thank you for all the help. So right now I will start my, okay, here it is. So today is the 1st of August, the year 2025. And we are back to the online presentation, online bi-weekly report. First of all, because we finished a very important project this summer, probably the most important during the all independence years of Ukraine in agricultural research and farming practices. But meanwhile, while preparing to this report, unfortunately, there was another hostile and aggressive attack of Russia. Russian 309 drones and 8 missiles hit Ukraine, and majority of them were targeting Kiev. As you can see on the picture, not the military objects. So Russians are lying about not attacking the civilian objects, and as we can see, for them it is one of the priorities to scare the people by killing. And in this case, unfortunately, 31 people died, and among them 2 children. 2-year-old and 6-year-old children died in the multi-story building. As you can see, the whole part of it collapsed, and only a few people were rescued, but 16 people died only in that building. So if somebody still has any questions about whether to help or not for Ukraine, this is the existential war. It's about survival of the nation, survival of the country, of the culture, of the language, and of course, it's about remaining home. Because for Ukraine, it is either we have 2 options: either die from the genocidal actions that would come after Russia takes over Ukraine, or to fight till the end. And that end can be either victory if the world helps, or again death, but on the battlefield. Now let's shift to the fields of agricultural purpose, so to say. As you know, since the full-scale invasion, all the other industries in Ukraine have gone to the secondary or third parts points, and now the most important one that is building and forming our budget is agriculture. And in July, we have started to harvest the early grain crops or the winter crops. So the winter crops, which are winter wheat, winter canola, it's at times winter barley, are right now in the middle of being harvested, or maybe even closer to the end of harvest period. So totally 10.4 million metric tons of grains and legumes were harvested. And you can see the area two, wheat was harvested from 2.2 million hectares, barley from a little less than a little more than 800,000 hectares, and peas a little bit less than 200,000 hectares. So the rest of them the rest of the crops, grains and pulse crops, have been harvested and totaled 54,000 tons, 54,000 tons, yes. And canola makes up 1 million tons. So this is quite a substantive amount if you take into consideration that usually the winter crops sum up into about 27, 26 million metric tons. So that is, but winter canola is still being harvested. So it's like winter wheat in especially the northern areas. It is very heavily being harvested right now. Export. For some reason, the export this month and the marketing year has just started in July. So it is just 1 million metric tons. And you can see the breakdown between wheat, barley, rye, and corn, and a little bit of flour, which is processed food. I mean, the value added product that is sold abroad, which is a very important topic, by the way. Ukraine is the raw material producer. It has been for years. The first thing that Ukraine has started to process and sell as the product, value added product, was sunflower oil. Now we are talking about flour, and I hope that there will be much more of the byproducts and of the products produced from corn, from other crops, including the hemp, which recently has been increased in acres due to the new law that allows to grow it massively with less regulation. I'm talking about hemp here. Another event that has happened this just recently is that one of the owners of the biggest farms in Ukraine, and that's the private owner. It's not the agricultural holding. It is just one big farm, 32,000 hectares. Земля и воля. As, in translation, it means Soil and Freedom LLC. Owner and the founder, Leonid Yakoveshin, passed away. He was an old person, so nobody speaks about the reason of his death, but that is the most likely the reason is his age. He was quite an interesting person in terms of he was respected by the way he managed to develop the old Soviet farm into a huge corporation-like farm. He understood how business work, and he knew how to secure the profit, to minimize the risks. He was growing mainly corn before, and at least he had been growing only corn until the full-scale invasion. Then he started experimenting with other crops. He is located in Chernihiv region, which is close to Russia, and they are his farm, I mean. And the full-scale invasion has the Russian forces have simply gone over and continued moving towards the Kyiv region. So they were in occupation for a couple of months. But after Russians retreated, their business continued with more diversity. Of course, there were some questionable technologies that he was using because he applied anhydrous ammonia as the only source of nitrogen, and he was applying to all of his fields moldboard plowing, which is not, as we know, the best way for the soil preservation and regenerative farming practices. However, he was profitable. His company paid taxes, and it is known that the employees of his farm got quite a high standards of the social packages and salary. Now about our event. This is the third time our team has done the Field Agricultural Council. And with this event, we try to teach Ukrainian farmers how to be more effective. As I say, Ukraine has the most richest soils in the world, but for some reason we do not have any records like Guinness records, yield Guinness records. And there is a reason for that. There is still a lot to learn. Our practices that we use in Ukraine are not the best. And unfortunately, universities are very much underfinanced in order to be able to catch up with the industry needs. Therefore, our team has put it as a goal to bring and implement the most effective and the most high-end practices in agronomy and crops production into Ukrainian fields. That to be done with a team of international certified experts, professors, and consultants in narrow topics. Narrow, by saying narrow, I mean that high specialization to the narrow topic brings the depth of the knowledge and of the information that is delivered to the audience. And as I've been always saying, that Ukraine is like the if you put the analogy of the Pareto law, 80 to 20, so 80% of the result or accomplishments is gained with 20% of effort. Right now, we are gaining the 20% of accomplishment in the yields, in the productivity, with the 80% of the energy, knowledge, inputs, and technological fine-tuning. So efforts. 80% of efforts are spent for 20% of the result. But this 20% is vital if we take into consideration that Ukraine, from the standpoint of protein index, can feed up to 600 million people. So if we add up another 20%, that would be 700, so an additional 120 million people. This is a rough estimation, but we have a huge potential. And in order to realize, to make it work for the people, for the economy of Ukraine, for those countries who need our produce, we are trying to do our best to teach Ukrainian farmers how to be more effective, more economically resilient, and more productive, and of course, more profitable. So, in the Field Agricultural Council 2025, we have scaled the number of fields that were under investigation or research and improvement because 42 fields, this is the huge amount of land that was analyzed. And we analyzed each of the fields. We started with the soil samples for the chemical analysis. Then in season, we sampled soil for biological analysis. And of course, we did analysis of the soil pit, which provided us understanding of physical properties of the soil. In addition to that, we used the tissue analysis. We did tissue analysis from the fields that we visited offline. The reason why I say offline is because part of the fields, 27 were visited offline, and the rest of them were done just the analysis and just the soil sampling and distant analysis was done to them. In total, there are 14 hosting farms, which each of them provided us with 3 fields. So as you understand, 9 of them were visited with a team of 10 internationally recognized experts. The rest of them were their technology and their fields were investigated distantly. However, with the same set of the analysis, chemical, biological, and tissue analysis. So the laboratories which we used in order to understand the chemical and biological state of things in the soil, we used the ones that are certified and the ones that are well known. 3 of them were our Western laboratories, 2 Ukrainian ones. So World Laboratories, Perry Egg Lab, Logan Lab, those are the American laboratories, Kernel Lab and Live Biochem, those are Ukrainian laboratories. With that, we wanted to have the very solid basis from which the rest of the analysis of the field and technologies would be taken. And with these laboratories, we didn't have any doubts that the technology of analysis and interpretation of the results was correct. So in addition to that, each of the laboratory had the expert, the consultant, who in the online format helped to provide recommendations and to break down the most important elements in each of the fields to the least important elements that need to be corrected. This gave the variety of choices for each of the hosts to see how different can be the approaches by the approaches of analysis. However, how the same the priorities are for different laboratories. In other words, disregarding the numbers, but if you follow the laboratory's patterns and recommendations, you will have the same prioritization of the elements in your fields. The numbers can be different, but the importance of the elements that you need to work on are the same scaled in all the laboratories if they fulfill their technology well. In our case, we had no questions. All the laboratories did great job. We are grateful to the consultants for breaking down the recommendation, and all that information was recorded. And in the end, I will tell you why it is important. In addition to that, while we were working in the fields in the winter time and early spring, collecting the samples, all the audience were having the online lectures trainings from the experts in production of most important crops, in crop protection, in weeds management, in insects and management, and of course soil management. So there was a lot of information collected during these online sessions. I'd say over 30 hours of very highly professional information just on lectures, and another 8 hours at least of the recommendations breakdown from the laboratories, which is the kind of like seminar. You have what's in the soil, and this is how the recommendation goes, and this is why it is important. So the lectures, they are theory. The analysis of the soil protocols, the chemical soil protocols, is the seminar. And then came the second part, which was offline. During the offline part, we visited, like I mentioned, 9 of the host farms, with each of them providing 3 fields for the inspection. That was the practical training for the amount of per day. We had about 50 in general, usually more participants. That concluded with 450, I'm sorry, 450 attendees of these in-field trainings. With the conference that took place in the end, that was a 2 days conference, and it surprised us with a much higher attendance level than we expected. So we expected a little below 300, but in fact we had with our crew and with the crew of the host farm representatives over 400 attendees. That in total gave us 800 direct offline beneficiaries. Here I use the terminology that USAID is using because with this event we tried to substitute the lack of the USAID programs for trainings. Unfortunately, this year, all of the educational USAID funded programs have been closed, and the farmers didn't have an alternative. Thus, with the Field Agricultural Council being a part of World to Rebuild Rural Ukraine, we tried to substitute these efforts. And using the money of the sponsors and the host farms, we collected the information which will be available to the audience in just a little bit once it is edited, because it was recorded, video recorded, and now it is being edited. And there are those businesses who are staying profitable, they will get this information on the paid basis. However, there is the very important share of the agricultural industry, share of the participants of agriculture industry who will get this information for free. And this is the role of World to Rebuild Rural Ukraine, because thanks to the partnership with our foundation, we decided to give all of this information for free to, first of all, the small farmers who are less than 500 hectares, because these are the least protected by the government farmers. They are not able to book their men, their military obliged employees from serving in the army. So in other words, their employees must go and serve in the army unless they have other reasons not to go, like for example being multiple children or due to the state of health. Where the farmers who are bigger than 500 hectares, they can book their employees from serving in the army. Thus, they can be the same way effective from the standpoint of labor as before. But those who are smaller ones, they are in a more dangerous situation because they are losing their men's power, and this is very important in the fields. Of course, women are learning how to drive a tractor, how to do field work, which had been usually done by men, but it doesn't help much for them. The second class of people, of agricultural, as I call them, players, who get this information for free, are the farmers who serve in the army. And by the way, we visited among our host farms, there was one of them, of the host farms, who is owned by the farmer serving in the army. and he wasn't able to visit the field days that when we came to him, but his son was. So it was a pleasure that the new generation was gaining the knowledge while their father was serving in the army, trying to secure the future of his son and the new generation. It means a lot to us. Therefore, farmers like him get all the information for free. And finally, the information will be, yeah, these are the photos, how it all worked. We had a lot of visitors. As you can see, the highest at the soil pit was up to 300 people at the same time, which was at the conference when Dr. Ray Wild was doing the presentation. But there was huge amount of questions and huge amount of those who wanted to learn. So the third category of the people who will get the information for free is the most substantial, because those are the universities and NGOs who teach others to these technologies. And we have preliminary done the online visit with the representatives of these universities, and you can see Tavria University, Mykolaiv University, Kherson University. Three of them have been relocated because their main offices and main buildings were located in the dangerous areas. For example, Tavria, this is the Donetsk, it seems to me Donetsk University, Mykolaiv University, and Kherson. These three have suffered most from Russian aggression. And the other ones, they're staying at the same location, but in total, we expect that the information given to these universities and then implemented into the curriculum of those universities to study their students will end up in the thousands of the beneficiaries of this information. And in years, their number will be multiplied. The reason why we focus so much on the university is that when I communicate with Ukrainian agricultural holdings, I keep hearing from them that when we hire fresh employees freshly from the university, we need to retrain or re-educate them in agronomy. The reason for that is that our university is being quite under uh, financed. They do not have an opportunity to run all those researches and to update their curriculums as it is done in the West. As a result, majority of the technologies are outdated. Some of them coming from the Soviet Union. Yes, the soils do not change so radically. The types of soils, the types of technology, the approaches, they at most stay the same. But I would say they stay the same, just like this Pareto law. So 20% of efforts stay the same, 80% of efforts or technology is upgraded, because we are talking about higher yields, much higher productivity than it was in the Soviet times. The economy is totally different. The genetics is totally different. The set of the chemicals is totally different. Therefore, it must be updated as any industry. And we are trying to substitute that. Of course, we do not have the opportunity to fulfill all the job of the universities, all the needs. However, in what's about the nutrition, crop protection, and soil management and regenerative farming, these are the topics that we try to deliver the most updated information to Ukrainian industry. And the beauty of that is that this information was collected according to the even to the same standard from these farms located in different areas. And let me show you. This is the area that we have investigated or covered within our Field Agricultural Council 25. You see, majority, at least 40% of Ukrainian land is covered, which means I do not mean that we've covered all the fields, all the farmland in those oblasts. However, each of the farms provided one field that is most representative to their other fields. And being most representative to the farm means that they are representative also for the region in large. Therefore, we can say that this is the huge scale. So continuing the justification of being most reliable as a research, the standards were the same. The laboratories that we used to test the soil and the tissue were certified according to the Western standards. So the information is reliable. The experts which came to see the soil pit and to see the crops in the fields were trained by the Western universities with the latest updated technologies and knowledge. Therefore, their conclusions and their recommendations are certified and raise no doubts like it would be if, for example, some consultant from Ukraine would do it. So, I mean, consultant without a diploma, of course. Just like there are a lot of cases on the market. So this is a reliable source of information, of analysis. And why I'm saying that is that the research being so scaled, so reliable, and so deep in terms of depth physically. We've done the soil pits up to 2 meters, and also in-depth analysis in terms of the details, why the technology is giving this result but not the better one, how to fine-tune it. So we were going into very professional and scientifically highly detailed analysis. So all that gives us a huge amount of information about the productivity and potential of Ukrainian agricultural industry. And now I want you to think about how that information can be used for the peaceful, of course, for the peaceful reasons. First of all the countries that are helping Ukraine survive and helping Ukraine stand should understand that this information would be worth at least $500,000 to run if some kind of foundation or governmental institutions ordered it to be done separately. It was done by our team, and the information is there. It is reliable. It is very scale. It is very statistical because it has a large scale. In addition, we know that Ukrainian land is for sale right now, and our team supports the fair land market, which means that every piece of land should be sold at what it is worth. And if it is highly potential, the price should be much higher. Unfortunately, I have never heard of anyone analyzing the soil, and we've asked this question to many farmers who we met with when they are purchasing the land. None of them has done such a deep analysis to understand what is the potential of what is they are buying. As Jörg Bayer, one of the consultants, said, you are, and actually many of them said the same message, but you are buying not only the top soil, you are buying everything what is underneath or renting. Therefore, and by the way, Dr. Ray Weil was providing a very good analysis in the soil pit, how to properly understand the potential of the land underneath the A level, A horizon. So all the profile, all the depth of the profile. So this analysis is unique because no one before, no one did it at that detailed depth, and it gives the understanding of which land is worth what money. So for the investors from abroad or within Ukraine, it is a reliable source of information to understand where they should invest their money and expect the less risky profit. So there are two ways to use this information, which is a legal way to use this information, of course, from the commercial side of things. And also there is one very powerful reason to use this information for the philanthropical initiative, which is to teach the students, to teach the farmers, small farmers, and those farmers who are striving to survive. Teach the technology how to be more effective and thus more resilient. Okay. So now about the financial part of this event. We are still calculating the costs of some of the um, size of the budget of this event because some of the bills we just received and we are trying to cover them, but it is already very clearly understood that we have the gap in what we gained from the sponsors and host farms and what we are supposed to pay to all the contractors and those who are providing us services, $24,000. That is the total gap that right now we are trying to overlap or substitute with. I'm substituting it with my own money from the company, from the Travelite Agro. So the reason why we managed, it happened that we have this gap, there are few reasons, but the most important one is that the event turned out to be more popular, and it attracted more attention from those who visited the conference and from those who actually could not pay for their participation. Therefore, we raised the budget for the conference, first of all, to be able to guarantee a comfortable and safe place for the experts to present, for the attendees to visit and stay for 2 days, because you know that Russians are monitoring the social events and they're targeting them. It has been no secret that they have targeted the supermarkets, the like epicenter, the conference halls, and big gatherings of people. So in order to secure this event from the war threats, we have chosen the location away from the city, away from all the communications. It was the one of the farmers who, yes, the location was given to us for free, but it required all sorts of separate supply, food, water, electricity, and of course logistics. That took majority of those $24,000. Also, we tried to secure, of course, the logistics of the experts team, and we were picky to the hotels from the standpoint of the comfort, but also from the standpoint of the presence of the shelters, bomb shelters. And unfortunately, they had to use the bomb shelter of one of the hotels during one night. It was in Kiev, so you can hear their feedback if you wish to communicate with them. So they stayed one night. It was Friday. I do not remember the date, but the whole night they stayed in the basement. So that is also the additional funding that raised our budget. And of course, there were a lot of printing materials that we tried to give off to the people, including the books that we translated for and gave off for free, and of course, including all the results of analysis that prepared a huge booklet. I can show it to you. For the conference. I don't know if you see it, but this has all the information from the host farms and from the fields. So with that said, I would like to ask for the permission from the ambassadors of World to Rebuild Rural Ukraine, permission to do to use the resource of World to Rebuild Rural Ukraine in order to raise this amount of money. And here I'm not talking about the salaries of our team or any profit. This is a non-profit event, and we are just talking about covering the costs. We have other events that are profitable and bring us the opportunity to earn money for the team, but this is for us an event, a philanthropical event that raises our reputation, but brings much more benefit to the agricultural industry. Also, the second thing, to everyone who is listening to us, we plan to be doing that every year because this is the event that after the war can be massively international and can be at the same scale as the farm show in the United States or the Hanover equipment exhibition in Germany every second year, conducted every second year. That can be a scientific, practical, in-field training that would be able to invite Europeans and maybe even representatives, farmers from further countries to see the Ukrainian soils, to hear how the international technologies are implemented in Ukrainian soils. Like I said, we have the best soils in the world, but for some reason, but there is a number of reasons why we do not have the best results of raising the crops in those soils. And on our way to these records, we can share the best technologies that give us the best ROI, return on investment, and thus everyone from the world who want to learn, who are looking into information, can come on the paid basis and learn themselves. That is in the future. This will be our success story once the war is over. But before that happens, we are considering leaving that as a philanthropical initiative, increasing the information collected from the fields, increasing the information about technologies that will be shared with the universities and with those who need it. So if we get this permission from the ambassadors, I would like to ask everyone who is watching this to spread the word about the event that we've done, about World to Rebuild Rural Ukraine, and also about the benefits that they can get from supporting this initiative. And by benefits, I mean that if there is a company willing to enter Ukrainian market as an investor and wanting to understand what they're investing in and where to invest in terms of the geographical oblasts into the fields, they can simply, for as cheap as $10,000, get the report on these 42 fields, which would be the most substantial, the most scientifically based, and the most reliable evaluation of the land of the technologies in Ukraine. And like I said, this is done for the reason that we want our law, where the land can be collateral, the land can be sold and purchased, to work transparently. We do not want to overcharge or undercharge for the soil, for the land. That is, but we want it to be productive, and we want to preserve it. Therefore, please share the information with those who can make it happen. Of course, the philanthropical initiative just to donate a little bit to support is also welcome. We will definitely share the same information with you. We have it on YouTube, but like I said, the highest interest in that is usually, it can be found in those businesses who want to enter Ukrainian market, and of course NGOs, and of course the foundations like USAID, the governmental based foundations who are considering further rebuilding Ukraine. This is reliable information that will spare them hundreds of thousands of dollars. This is just a few things that we would like to probably report, or let's say so, boast that we managed to do. The last, but not the least, rebuilding of the storage premise for the farmer in Kherson Oblast. We raised $20,000. That lasted quite a long time, over the year, in Velika Alexandrivka, which is Kherson Oblast. And Alexander is a small farmer who suffered from Russian aggression. His son needs special medical treatment, which also costs a lot of money. So he was in the priority list to be helped too. And we managed to raise him just enough money for him to get the construction materials. And he said that he will rebuild the storage facility himself. Right now, the facility is at the final stages of rebuilding. So soon it can be used, hopefully by the end of this harvest season, can be used for the storage of the crops. These are the other aid recipients that we helped. Some of them got the machinery, some of them got the storage facilities rebuilt. Also, orphanage in Kiev Oblast got the air raid shelter constructed for them. We didn't finance all of it, but part of it. These are the two full-scale houses that we built for the families, with everything for living there, not without internal decoration, but this is the residential house, and all that was done within a little over $100,000. As you can see, we are quite efficient. We do not. I have been covering myself the last 2 years the administrative costs for handling the website, the information flow, the bi-weeklies, the accounting. And we are thankful to LifeNets, for our NGO partner in the United States, for not charging any administrative costs, and thus helping us being more effective. Right now, we will continue with raising donations for the reconstruction, but like I said, we would like to cover the costs for this event. And before I finish, I would like to say thank you to all the experts team who were here in our Field Agricultural Council. As you can see, we have two experts from Ukraine, Vitaly Hrichenko, the consultant and the agronomist, Olga Bykova, she is the soil expert, and she helped us make sure that all the protocols of the soil analysis and tissue analysis were handled and interpreted properly. Kevin Elmy, it's changing slowly. Kevin Elmy is the consultant from Canada, the reputable cover crops expert, and he did great job in convincing the Ukrainian farmers that it is doable in our conditions. It is doable, it is going to work if they apply the proper seeding rate and the proper timing of the cover crops and the proper cover crops, because this is a very skeptical topic in Ukraine. Amy Bandy was the great in explaining the proper scouting and deficiencies identification based on the leaves and of the state of the plant. And also the presentation, her presentation raised a lot of interest because the topics that she covered were highly scientific, with the presentation that made it understandable for the farmers. So she did great job as the tutor of a very how do you call it, scientific knowledge. Dr. Ray Weil, reputable expert, author of many books from the University of Maryland, provided a detailed analysis of the soils of Ukraine, but also he taught how to run these soil pit analysis and how to interpret what you're seeing and how to adjust the technologies. Dr. Michael McNeil, as an expert in nutrition, who from Iowa, he provided the alternative to the soil feeding, the most more economical rescue program for foliar feeding, and his approach in tissue analysis, which helped identify the elements in the lack of elements in dynamics. York Bayer, Alan Perry, and Bruce Hoare are the experts in Albrecht, Kinsey Albrecht technology of soil balancing, each of them representing the separate continent. It proves that Bruce Hoare from New Zealand, Alan Perry from United States, almost Canada, and York Bayer from Germany. It proves that the soil balancing works and the Kinsey Albrecht technology works in all the conditions, in all the continents, and they were trying to deliver this message to Ukrainian farmers that it's all about soil and balance of elements to be where their productivity is hidden, and it can bring them huge economizing of the elements. Of course, I'm grateful to our team, to everyone who participated, because, like I said, we managed to. There was one of the feedbacks from Canada. We've raised some waves in Ukraine, and by saying that, we worked very hard to make it happen. Each of 10 of us, and we managed to attract attention of those in Ukraine, those producers, those specialists, those consultants who are trying to work on the details, who are digging into the trifles and going for perfection. And our conference has created not only an excellent platform for hearing the experts from abroad, but it was also an excellent platform for exchanging the the technologies and the experience of which of them work and which of them needs to be improved in Ukrainian conditions. So, with that said, I would like to finish today's presentation. Once again, the main points that I would like you to pay attention to: Ukraine is badly suffering from the war. Civilian people are dying not only on the edge of war. We lack a lot of things to live normal life, but we try to live this life as much as we can. The experts team can share their feedback, how on the day we are like the normal country, normal city, European country, but in the nighttime, we are like Vietnam or some hot point in terms of war. But farmers, this is just one of the industry that is critical for Ukraine and critical for the world, try to do their best. They farm in the conditions that are not very safe. They farm in the harsh natural conditions. They want to teach, sorry, to learn. They want to study new technologies. And we World Tribute Rural Ukraine and Travelite Agro, all our team are utilizing all our network to help them be effective and productive. We are grateful to all the experts who supported us both online and offline. We are grateful to all the people who helped make it happen. We are grateful to the sponsors and to the host farms that uh, participated financially in making this event happen. I'm sure that it will have a huge impact on the improving and growth of the productivity of Ukrainian fields and making our universities and the students that graduate from these universities be more professional and very highly trained agronomists and experts. What I want to ask from you is to spread the word about World Tribute, about Ukraine, first of all, about World Tribute Rural Ukraine efforts, about the Field Agricultural Council, and if possible, to make some donations towards you can find all the information on our website. I do not want to be sharing any QR codes. So WRRU.org, on the first page, you can find down on the first page the information that is needed to make the donation. And if you have any questions, I would love to set up a Zoom call with you and answer them. Also, if you're considering a higher amount for donation and you want to receive the reports, both financial and agronomical, just contact me. You can see my email in the left corner, left upper corner. I will provide it to you. Meanwhile, thank you very much. All the best to you. God God protect your families, and I hope that He will protect our families too. Thank you.
Hello, Roman. Hello, Roman.
Yes, York. Yes.
Yeah, is there now a little bit of a chance for Q&A?
Of course. Of course. Yes.
Thanks for the outline, and I just have a question, Roman. Maybe we can. I think this is a brilliant idea to open this up for potential interest and to really market this as a overall soil assessment of Ukraine soils. It's a brilliant idea, and I think that's the best way forward, Roman. However, I think, please think about that you do a little bit like this recording is now almost an hour. If we can get that down to like 10, 15 minutes, right? And really concentrate on this information base. You know, the area covered, that you add this area with the points, you know, not with the names, which location, and then make a case study out of one field, which data is presented and what is done. Because, you know, because for 10,000 euro or dollars, to make it more attractive, I think this is a great asset. to go forward, and it's really value the money, right? But to save also, also to save time, and then give, include in that presentation, like as all the field trips were recorded, that they get also,
of course,
that you then do like a teaser for this location, just for one soil pit. Right? So
yes, I agree.
And then they know, okay, we are getting like 27 or whatever locations it were in the end. You know, it was more than 20 locations we did.
27, yes.
Yeah, we did only one at one farm. We didn't have time for the third field. So
26, you're right.
26 or 25, but doesn't matter. The data is for the other soil is there. But what I mean is that we, because I think we can open up with like a quarter an hour concentrated information. I think we can open up a lot more interest in that.
Okay, I agree with you. Preparing this so-called short preview of what can be included would be a good idea. Of course, not for the sake of commercializing, but for the sake of using this money for the future researchers like that.
Yes, but look, what is done with the money then? I mean, first of all, I think the whole team should get a little bit out of it as well, right? For the effort of 2 weeks, almost 3 or 4 weeks of investment, right?
Jörg, I would say that for some of them, it was a couple of months investment. For example, for Olha, for Vitaly, for Dima.
Yes, and all visiting the farms and getting the soils and the tissue samples. Look, who has ever done like over 20 locations with tissue samples and documenting really in that depth? This is really an asset which you should, and we are happy to help you, to add to this, to get really the best out of it in the end. So make it presented professionally, which I know you are very capable of that. But I know when, like the seed company from France, which wants to go to Ukraine, I know that the decision-making people, they don't have a time for looking 1 hour a video.
I understand you.
Okay.
I understand you very well.
Okay,
it is a good idea. If ambassadors approve that, I'm just I'll do it very quickly, and I'm open for that. So right now, what I'm looking for is to receive from all the ambassadors the permission to go for it. And once I get it, then we'll prepare it, and we'll probably ask for spreading the word, spreading the actual presentation to.
But your presentation is already, this 1 hour is recorded.
Yes, this one, yes.
Okay, so please share the link so we can, I can also put it on my page as a summary.
Sure, right? Of course.
Okay, because I was asked now several times, can you do a summary of that? Can you show us something? And I said, time is very limited nowadays for every one of us.
Yeah. That's a very good idea. Thank you for the advice. I'll do it anyway. Prepare the like short video outlook on what is the information and the consultancy level that each field got. And I will use it for the future host farms to understand what we are talking about. And of course, we'll use it once get approval from the ambassadors. Victor has the question. Yes, please, Victor. Thank you, Jörg.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. First of all, I want to thank Roman for the presentation, and we give our approval for continuing what he's asking for. We have worked for 3 years with Roman. We are very small, and we are not an agricultural organization, but I am Ukrainian. My wife and I have LifeNets, and our website is lifenets.org. So
yes, by the way, to everyone who are watching us, Victor Kubik is the president of LifeNets, and we are grateful to him and the LifeNets as NGO for being our partner, trusted partner in making the donations raising possible since the first days of setting up World Tribute for Rural Ukraine. Victor and Beverly have been helping us. Thank you.
Okay, and I'm just wanted to say is that we will continue to pass on donations. We charge nothing for that, and we will even add to that. So I'm just saying is that if you go to the WRRU.org website, go to donate, and you come to our page for PayPal, and that's the medium that we suggest you use. For those in the United States, contributions to WRRU through LifeNets are tax exempt. You do not have to pay taxes on that. So I just want to encourage you to come there. My wife and I are very desirous of helping. We have traveled to Ukraine many times, and we are praying for this war to end. So I just wanted to make that statement. I will have to be leaving here in a few minutes, but I just wanted to get my word in.
Thank you very much. Greatly appreciate everything that you've done, and all the best to you and Beverly. Tell hi to Beverly.
Okay.
Okay, then if there are no more questions, then I'll go for. I mean, I will be finishing this session, and the recommendation that you gave, I will make it. We will compose the final. Once we have the final recommendations in a paper PDF format, then it will be the full set of data that we can get from each of the fields, and we will compile it into one video with presentation and everything, so that it will summarize what we've done. That is a really great idea. Okay, have a nice rest of the Friday, and have a great, peaceful weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks, Roman.
Thank you, Amy.